I never thought something so small would end up shaking me the way it did, but I guess when you've been through enough. It's the little things that hit the hardest. It was a Tuesday afternoon, cloudy and gray. I had just left the VA clinic after a checkup. Nothing serious, just routine stuff. I decided to stop by the local military surplus store on the way home. It's a place I've gone to for years, not just because of what they sell, but because it feels familiar. The smell of canvas tents, the sound of boots on the concrete floor. The sight of those old medals in the glass case near the register, it brings me back to a time when I wore the uniform every day, back to the brothers and sisters I stood beside in the heat, in the cold, in the thick of it. I walked in wearing my old army jacket. The patches are a bit faded now. The fabric worn thin at the elbows, but I still wear it with pride. That jacket has been with me through more than most people could imagine. It's part of me. I picked out a few things, a pair of boots, some camping gear, and a small American flag to replace the weather-beaten one in front of my house. Nothing major, just odds and ends. As I stepped up to the register, I saw a young man working behind the counter. Couldn't have been more than 20, maybe 21. He had a name tag that said Brian. I smiled and said, "Hey, do you guys still do the veteran discount?" He barely looked at me. "Do you have your military ID?" I reached for my wallet, but then I remembered I had left my ID at home. I told him that. Then I pointed to my jacket and the patches on it. He gave me a look, not curious, not even doubtful, just dismissive. "Anybody can buy a jacket like that here," he said, without even a hint of kindness in his voice. I was taken aback. I wasn't trying to pull one over on anyone. I served in the Army for 8 years. 2 tours in Iraq, 1 in Afghanistan. I pulled out my phone and showed him an old photo. Me and my unit, standing in the dirt, rifles slung across our backs, dust in our teeth, but proud. That photo meant something to me. I thought maybe it would mean something to him too. He looked at it for maybe half a second, then said, "Sorry. That's not proof." Store policy. It wasn't just what he said, it was how he said it. Cold. Like I was just some guy trying to cheat the system. Like my service didn't matter. Like I didn't matter. I stood there for a moment, not knowing what to say. Part of me wanted to argue. Another part just felt tired. Too tired to fight for something as small as a few dollars off a purchase. Behind me in line, a woman spoke up. She had silver hair pulled back in a ponytail, eyes sharp but kind. She said, "I know who he is. My husband served with him. He talked about him all the time. This man's the real deal. You should be ashamed." The kid just shrugged. I paid full price. Not because I had to, but because I didn't want to give him the satisfaction of thinking he'd won. I left the store, holding my bag, holding my breath, holding back something that felt a lot like sadness. When I got home, I sat on the porch for a long time. I looked at the old flag flapping in the wind and wondered why that moment hurt more than it should have. I've been shot at. I've been scared out of my mind. I've lost friends, good men, better than me. And yet, somehow being questioned. Like that. It just cut deep. It made me feel invisible. A few days later, I got a phone call from the store manager. A woman named Maria. She was kind. Her voice was soft, and I could tell she meant every word when she said, "I'm so sorry. I just found out what happened, and I had to call you myself." I didn't understand how she found me at first. But then she explained that the woman who stood up for me in the store had reached out. She emailed the company. She even sent them That same photo I showed the clerk only this time. She included her husband's old photos too. Turns out, he'd saved some group pictures from the base, and I was in more than one of them. Maria told me the young man was no longer with the company. Not just because of my story, but because this wasn't the first time. They'd received other complaints. Other veterans who were treated with the same disrespect. She offered me a full refund, a gift card, and even said I could come in and pick out anything I wanted, free of charge. I thanked her truly, but I didn't need any. Of that, I told her, I didn't share my story to get anyone fired. I didn't want money. I just wanted to feel seen, because for some of us, that uniform wasn't just a job. It was our life. And when we take it off, we carry the memories, the losses, the pride, and the pain with us every single day. We don't expect special treatment, but a little respect goes a long way. That young man may not have understood what I had given up, but I hope he does now. I hope one day he meets someone who helps him really see it. As for me, I'm grateful, truly grateful to the woman who spoke up that day. She didn't owe me anything. She didn't have to get involved. Most people wouldn't have. They would have just stood there quietly, maybe looked away, maybe felt a little bad, but said nothing. But she didn't stay silent. She chose to speak. In a world where so many people turn their heads and mind their own business, she stepped forward and used her voice for someone she didn't even know. And that meant something. That meant everything. She saw me. Not just the man standing in front of her at the register, not just the guy in the worn-out jacket. She saw the soldier, the years behind my eyes, the weight I carry. And in that moment, she chose to honor it not with fanfare, not with pity, but with respect. I later found out her husband had served too. That's probably why she understood. She had lived it in her own way. The nights of waiting, the worry, the pride, the silence at the dinner table when a letter didn't come. The kind of understanding that doesn't need words, but even if she hadn't been connected to the military, her heart was in the right place. She didn't need a uniform to know what was right. That simple act of kindness reminded me that not everyone forgets. That even though the world moves fast and people are caught up in their own lives, there are still good souls out there who remember what service really means. People who understand that a uniform isn't something you take off and leave behind. It becomes part of who you are. She reminded me that respect, when it's real, doesn't need to be asked for. It's given, and in that moment, when I felt invisible, she helped me feel seen again. Like I still mattered, and let me tell you, that meant more than any discount ever could. It was worth more than a refund, more than an apology, more than any words from a manager, because at the end of the day, it wasn't about the money. It was about dignity. It was about being recognized, and she gave me that without hesitation. I'll never forget her. Thanks so much for watching. If this video moved you, taught you something new, or made you think, don't forget to hit that like button. Drop a comment to share your thoughts, and subscribe so you never miss a story that matters. Your support helps this channel grow and brings these important stories to more people. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them.